What's up, Super Sailor? See if excuse me, see if a few of you guys tune in. Only gonna be here for a few minutes, but pretty happy tonight. The New York Knicks going to the NBA Finals. First time since 1999. I was born in 2000, so my entire life up until this point, I have never seen the Knicks in an NBA Finals before, and that is going to change. Of course, there's a big chance that they're going to lose in the NBA Finals, but it's the first time that am ever going to see them in the finals. So I am pumped about that. Um, Obviously, OKC or San Antonio is going to be a very tough customer. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they end up losing the finals. But the fact they even made it to the finals, first time I'll ever see it. Um, because the last time that they were in the finals, I don't even think I was made yet. Like my parents didn't, you know, that whole thing. So, yeah, very pumped about that, which is kind of funny because this kind of relates to Drake and Josh in a way as well. If you guys saw those videos online of these fake fans that would be asked on the streets who they thought the better player was, Drake or Josh. And people thought, because they're so stupid, they're not real fans of the Knicks, that they fell for the question and they went with one of the two of them. So that was like funny, but it was also like really sad to see. Uh and yeah, so now we have the Knicks in the finals. And I'm pumped about that. So look forward to watching that. One of my good friends is in here. Nabal, what's going on, man? Just late into the night. Um, you know, you might be the only one in here, man. So yeah, he's a big Lakers fan. Big Laker fan. So big Kobe fan. So it's okay, man. No problem. No problem, man. Ah, sorry, man. Sorry that you have a crappy job. Or at least you feel that way. I'm sorry to hear that. It's tougher as the day goes on to have a job in this world that, you actually like. Very tough. Yeah. Yeah. What's crazy about Kobe specifically is that, he's been dead for over 6 years now. I mean, that to me, I mean, Kobe, in my opinion, was what started just the downward spiral of the world, in my opinion. COVID was ramping up pretty much right after he died, and we haven't really recovered since he died in that plane crash, in my opinion, as a world. So, um, yeah. Oh, okay. You've been there for a long time then. Yeah, I've said this before. Sometimes you just pick a really bad time to come live, and obviously, it appears that now it's that time. It's just timing. The audience is there. It's just a lot of the audience. It's just selective timing when it's right. Sometimes there's times where you catch your audience at the right time where a lot of people are online, and then there's other times like now where you can't get anybody. So yeah, it's one of those times, you know. But yeah, life's been good, man. Life has been good. Um, of course, everybody runs into some issues in life. That's unfortunately common, but not too many things I can't complain too badly about. Ever since I started going to Drake shows at the beginning of last year, my world has opened up in a lot of ways because for a very long time, there was no fun going on. There was no me going to anything. It was, you know, a really miserable time, especially when Aaron Carter passed away. Um, just a lot of things were going on. And a lot of things I still have to deal with personal things, whatever with family, whatever the case may be. But, you know, and of course, last year I had an uncle that passed away from cancer. That was not fun, but, life's been good. Overall, I appreciate that. Thanks for asking. I hope you've been good, man. Do you think Arnold comes back in 2027? Honestly, I never really even watched Hey Arnold. So I am like the last person to ask anything about when it comes to that show. I don't think I've ever uh watched an episode of that before. I don't even know if I've really even seen scenes for that show before. I've heard it. Obviously, I've heard the name of the show before, but I'm like the least qualified person to talk about that show. Yeah, man, you're in California. Drake has a lot of shows that he does in California, so I'm surprised you haven't been to one of his shows yet. Obviously, I'm not sure where exactly you are in California, and you could, if you wanted to DM me on Instagram, and so I could have a better idea to maybe help out, like if Drake is in some specific town in California. But he does a lot of shows there. Um, you know, Miranda's a little bit harder to get overall, but you know, um, yeah, obviously you've seen all the times I've met Drake, so you know, um, it's been great. It's been fantastic. Sorry, I have this like runny nose, and I have like no tissues left, which sucks. Yeah, just really happy that the Knicks are in the NBA Finals. You know, I wasn't sure if that would ever happen, so very glad uh, that that has happened. Hello, aka Eagle. Do you think that it's kind of shame there's no episode where Drake and Josh graduated high school? Not necessarily. They kind of looked a little older than high school ish, anyways, so that would have been a little awkward. They looked like very much like college students, in my opinion. Not necessarily high school, so yeah. But it's kind of far from me. One in Venice is pretty close to me, but I'm not going to go deep into this. But all I can say is that I have a strict family. Oh, okay. Um, that's okay. You obviously don't have to disclose anything on here, and obviously you don't even have to talk about that in private to me, whatever. But I understand. You know, um, I get it completely. Let's see. Some catching up on stuff. Um, Dan, I don't know what that means, but whatever. Recently saw deleted. Yes, there are deleted scenes. Which they're not. I don't like the word deleted. It's just scenes that were removed from later airings and masters of the episode. I don't necessarily like the word deleted, but that's just my opinion. No idea. I have a fan page. They do know I love Drake and Josh. Well, I've told people before on here about your fan page, Drake, which is Miranda, Drake, GTA Fit. Sorry, I butchered how to say it. It's kind of a long one. But go check out one of my good friends here, Miranda, Drake, and GTA fan page for life on Instagram. Go check him out. Great, good friend of mine. Um, if you are a fan of Drake, if you're a fan of Miranda Cosgrove, and if you're a fan of also GTA, you'll enjoy his page a lot. So go check out my good buddy here. We've been friends for quite a while now, so you know, I think you would enjoy his page. So go check him out. He's the one in here who's named Alcon. So yeah. Man, there you go. Check him out. Good friend of mine. Of course, man. So, let's see. Geography class is no better place for Drake to get some sleep. Yeah, it was it was an interesting scene. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Um, I'm looking around here. Man. Well, I will say this. I'll bring this out. I can show this to you guys. Um, but it was nice earlier this year. This is my unsigned copy here. Um, but it was nice to officially get this signed. Because I don't know if you guys remember the story that I did for the Drake and Josh CD here. But I have a very infamous story on how this relates back to my childhood that I had discussed in a video for Childhood DVD Fan a few years ago. And so earlier this year, I got a copy that Drake signed. This is my unsigned version, which the autograph came out great, looking great. Obviously, Drake signed on his side. Um, so, yeah, this is the CD that, the only Drake and Josh official CD. So cool stuff. And then take a look at the back here. Got a bunch of songs here. So yeah, I guess I'll discuss the story quickly if you guys want to hear it. So let me catch up on the comments here. If you're a WWE fan, that's who he is. He collaborates. Well, yes, I've heard of the name before. I've obviously I know the wrestler. He just debuted in WWE not too long ago. It's just I'm not a fan of him personally. Like I'm not. It's not that I have anything against him. I'm just not a fan of I hope you get what I'm saying. Yeah, Theater Thug. Do you work for Drake and Josh? How are you able to get them on your show? Well, first of all, I don't work for Drake and Josh, and I don't have a show. I'm just a fan who has gotten very lucky to have small connections with certain people. But by no means am I someone who, um, has like deep ties or anything like that. Not at all. Not one bit. Um, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That sounds very depressing just reading it like that. I'm very sorry to hear that. Um, you don't have to get into all to the details like that here, but I'm sorry to hear that, man. I really am. Um, but yeah, do you guys want to hear the story on the CD at all? I made a video for Childhood DVD Fan back in the day about this, but I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to hear that story right now or not. I know that we had some people in here, then they dropped off, and so now we're kind of at that point again. So I'm trying to catch up here. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Cruising dude? How you doing, man? With new, let me just read this comment here. With need a new Drake and Just here. Their old house got torn down. Honestly, man, I know you're gonna disagree, but I'm good. I don't need anything ever again from the Drake and Josh brand. That's just me personally. But here's the story. On the CD, which is ironic because I think it was the same day I became a Yankees fan, and that's a whole separate story. But anyways, this is back in 2007. So we're going almost 20 years ago here. So this was when I was in second grade. So there was a day sometime in 2007, I think like May or something like that, um, where there was a thing in my second grade class where it was show and tell, basically. It was a thing where the teachers encouraged us to bring something from home that I guess represented us or that we liked or whatever the case may be. I wouldn't even want to tell you guys what I brought because it's like really embarrassing, but wish I remember exactly what I brought. I still have it with me. That's all I'll say. But um, one of the things that was brought to the show and tell was a girl brought this CD, the Drake and Josh CD here. Unless I have the name of the girl mixed up, I'm pretty sure I remember her name was Holly. Uh, unless I have it mixed up with someone else, but there was a girl named Holly that brought the CD in, and this was one of the ones that you know, everybody in the class kind of was like, "Oh, even me, whatever, This is the time when I was, really into the show. Um yeah. So, um but yeah, this was, one of the earlier memories that I have with uh the show in general. So yeah, made a whole video on that. Let me catch up here. Yes, I'm well aware that Drake has wanted to do the show. He says that, and I understand that. But just because Drake wants to do it doesn't mean that it's the right thing for just the show's franchise, for everybody else that's involved. You know, um, there's more into that process than what just Drake wants, you know? Um, so trust me, I've seen all the interviews and stuff, um, where he's talked about, wanting to do the show again or, have some kind of reboot or do some kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I'm well aware of that. And Drake still is a singer, by the way. He's not. He wasn't. He wasn't. Was he still is? Um, the acting thing, he's kind of put a little bit behind him, which I understand. Um, but yeah. Anyways, seeing what I missed here. Yeah, I agree with the cruising dude. I would not want a Drake and Josh reboot. I do not think that it would be good. But I don't want to get into a big debacle here on why I say that. Who can possibly surpass Drake and Josh as far as like a comedy duo or just like a show in general or whatever? Because if you're talking about for Nickelodeon specifically, I don't think anybody will ever pass them. Not just because of how the world's changed or whatever, but because of how Nickelodeon changed themselves. You know. Um. So, yeah, I'm gonna go back to. Anyways, I'm gonna go back to this. So, um, yeah, I don't think anybody will ever really pass them. It was kind of once in a lifetime kind of just opportunity, whatever. Yeah, I would. I mean, Sam was a fairly good character, but I would agree with that. Certainly not Carly. You know. Yes, we're aware of that. I mean, I was aware of that years before, but yes, quiet on set, shined a light on all that stuff. You seem to talk like I don't pay attention to what has happened to Drake in his career and stuff like that. I'm very well aware of all the stuff that you're bringing up here. I literally have a super fan page called Drake and Josh Superfan. So I keep very much in touch with what's going on. And it wasn't the director, but I'm not going to get into that whole thing with Brian Peck. That's not, you know. Of course I'd meet Drake Bell again. Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, who knows? Maybe there's something lined up for that, but you never know. So, yeah, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you, Nabal. I'm not talking to you at all. When I was, whatever, I was talking to the gaming username. How do you feel about the Scrap Gibby spinoff? Kind of whatever when it comes to the scrap off, Gibby thing. He, he was a decent character, but he was never a character that I was invested in enough where I actually wanted to see him get his own spin-off. So, kind of feeling different about it, Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Maybe. I probably you're probably right. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. Yeah. What about Craig and Eric? Um they would be higher on the list, but you guys got to keep in mind that by the time that Scott, who played Eric in the show, was on Drake and Josh, he was already like 30 years older, almost close to 30 years old. So, I don't know. It would have been interesting had that been the case. I don't know if that would have been the best decision with where they were at in their lives. It's a little bit easier when you're guest or reoccurring guest on a show rather than a main, you know? So, um, yeah. Have you seen it on there? Yes, I have seen it. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but yes, I have seen it before. So could I tell you off the top of my head what was in it? No, but I have seen it before. Yes, I have seen it. Just gonna check on something quickly. Nope. Okay. All right. And check this. One more thing. Nope. All good. Okay. Perfect. All right. Anyways, they had an adult play a teenager. I know Nickelodeon unfortunately has done that with many different shows. They've had adult actors play in even underage roles. I'm not a fan of that whole thing, but I don't want to get into that whole thing. Uh, yeah, can't believe Craig was portrayed nerdy. I could see how Eric was. Um, I think they just needed somebody to kind of bounce off with Scott. But when it comes to Scott, I'm pretty sure that the glasses that he wore on the show he didn't wear in real life. They just gave those to him to make his character look even more nerdy-ish. Yeah, School of Rock was definitely, a lot of times where people, first got noticed Miranda or whatever the case may be. That was a pretty big role for her. Wonder if there's any more Oh, yeah, there's definitely scenes of Drake and Josh that we have never, ever seen before. There is no doubt in my mind that there are so many scenes from the show that we have no idea exists. All the bloopers, all the, just stuff like that that has never seen the day of light ever. No doubt in my mind that there are so many that we have never seen before from all four seasons. No doubt in my mind. Nickelodeon's fucking sitting on like a stockpile of this shit. It's not necessarily full scenes, it's like bloopers, where they mess up their lines or whatever. So they, obviously they're filming every time that they say lines and, you know, they're not actors and actresses that can just say everything the first time, whatever, and have it right. You guys got to remember they shoot these scenes and go over the lines and have to redo them over and over and over again. Dan was very notorious for having scenes be done over and over again until he thought it was correct in his mind, you know? So there's no doubt in my mind that there are so many scenes um, that, we just haven't seen because, you know, somebody messed up their lines, somebody went in too early for on a shot, whatever the case may be. Yeah, that is an interesting one. Um, that would be kind of a question that I would, you know, hope if I ever, got to talk to Dan, I would ask him about that one because I'm sure the actors probably don't know why it's different, but maybe that's one that I ask one day. As a matter of fact, I'm waiting to hear back from Drake. I'm hoping to hear back from Drake soon, but um, I asked him uh, about the different lyrics in Makes Me Happy when it was in Really Big Shrimp. If you compare the lyrics to what he sung in for certain parts for Makes Me Happy and Really Big Shrimp, and then you compare it to what he released with It's Only Time and whatever, you can tell that there's different lyrics. And that's always been kind of a curious thing for me. So I'm waiting to hopefully hear back from him sooner than later on that. Well, Drake actually had a cousin who was actually a pitcher for the Padres in real life. His name was Heath Bell. And Drake is overall a Padres and Yankees fan. Um, I don't think that Josh has any ties to the Padres at all. But yeah, not sure what that means, but okay. Anyways, guys, I'm probably going to get going in a few minutes here. Um, wow. Excuse me. Is Drake really that dumb as the show suggests, or could it secretly be a master? No, of course, of course, they obviously towards the end made his character on purposely like that. Drake is nowhere like that in real life, not even close. He's actually a very intelligent. He's very, very intelligent. So the way that his character was in seasons 3 and 4 specifically was very much the way that they wrote his character to be. Very much so. Um, just different lifestyles. You got to keep in mind. Drake's traveling all over the place, singing. All over the place. Whatever. Josh is an actor who's staying in one relative spot. Whatever. Um, So of course life is going to just push them in different directions, you know. But you know they're back on speaking terms. They've been on speaking terms for over 2 years now. So you take what you can with it all. Maybe it's a good theory. It's a possible good theory. All right. Honestly, a lot of your comments tonight have I'm not really digging a lot of your comments tonight, honestly. So, but I'll leave it at that. Who knows? There's a lot of theories when it comes to the show and, whatever the case may be. Oh yeah, of course I remember Gary Coleman's appearance. I got the DVD that my good friend Jeremy from Random Kid Entertainment hooked me up with. The Partners in Crime DVD that has the Gary Grill episode on there. I was very happy to acquire that. As a matter of fact, it's right to my left. Fuck it, might as well show you guys. Did unboxing for this a few months ago, but there it is. There's the extremely rare Partners in Crime DVD. Very, very, very rare. It is the only one that has the uh, Gary Grill episode on it, mainstream wise. There was another copy of it that sold on eBay for $200 after I got that one, which I contemplate possibly getting because there's some audio skippage the last time I tested very slightly when the parents are about to, run in and Drake and Josh are in the you know, uh jail, thing, whatever. I'm right here, man. I'm right here. I'm right here. Uh I don't know if there's like a lag between when I talk and when you guys type or if there's like a lag where even though I'm live right now, I'm like you guys don't hear what I say till a minute afterwards or whatever. I hate that shit. So, um, yeah, had a reconnecting thing come here. Um, yeah. All right, guys. So I'm going to end the live stream in about a minute or so. If you guys have any final things you want to say, final questions, feel free to um, ask them. Um, yeah, started out pretty dead to begin with, but then we picked up a little bit of momentum, so I appreciate that. Yes, I ain't calling you a truther. Which, by the way, I will say, I saw on Mercari that somebody had gotten Drake and Josh to sign that whole thing and like, on a poster, whatever. But what really got my OCD like through the roof is that what was written on there was not the exact lines that they said for that whole scene. So that to me was like, like that kind of ruined it for me. Had they, wrote the lines the way they said them on the show, then I would have been like, wow, that's a very cool piece. Uh, but it would have been better if it was a season 3 pick and not a season 4 pick. But anyways, all right. If anybody, let's go with one final question and not like a show question or anything like that or quotes or whatever. I'm talking about, a real final question, and then we will leave it at that. What, you guys couldn't hear me before? I don't know what the deal is. Uh, if you guys have a final question for me at all, I apologize if we ran into some technical difficulties here. All right, cool. I mean, who knows if the Knicks win the finals? It's tough. It's going to be tough for them if they do, but I hope they do. I hope they do. Obviously, I would love for them to win it all, but you know, New York sports, in my opinion, has been cursed for a very long time. So, would it be surprising if they don't win? No, not at all. But yeah, if anybody has a final question or whatever. All right, here we go. Thank you. Do you still have a video now or any Drake and Josh people? All right, so I do have a video now. I still have to get the Drake and Josh video nows, which I know that there's like Grammy, there's football, there's like I think maybe Pilot, like there's a few of them for the video now. I do not have any of the Drake and Josh ones for the video now, but I do have Josh's Laugh Camp video now disc. So that one I do have, and the only other ones that I have, because quite frankly, when I got the video now, this was many years ago. I had only bought the things for the exclusive videos that were on there, and there were only a few that I had bought at the time, and I've never added to the collection since then. But I have the Josh's Laugh Camp disc on there. I also have the um, two Jamie Lynn Spears videos that she put out, or what, or whoever put out, and that's it. The Drake and Josh stuff is not exclusive. And what kind of sucks about my video now player that I got is that the volume button, there's some kind of issue where like you can't turn up and down the volume, so and it's so freaking loud that the only way to like watch it without your ears being blown off is like to have some headphones on the side. Um but yeah. Should Drake and Josh get into Topps cards in 2026? Um, well, I mean, the baseball cards, whatever. I have a signed baseball card or a signed trading card that of Drake Bell from 2024 from Leaf. Um, I don't know what you're trying to get into, but I'm just talking about the video now things that I have. Um, yeah. Um, anyways, we're gonna end it there. Um, I appreciate you guys being in here tonight. Um, those of you that have been in here, go Knicks. Hopefully, we can bring a championship home. But once again, odds have not been in our favor for a very long time when it comes to that stuff. Anyways, guys, go check out some of my recent videos of my updated Drake Bell autograph collection that has over 40 autographs in there. And then also the my thoughts on Drake and Josh on Pluto TV. Anyways, guys, this has been Drake and Josh, super fan, childhood DVD fan. I'm exhausted. I'm probably gonna get ready to go to sleep. Hope you guys have a good night. So long, everyone.